Good morning. You can be seated. President Feldstein, Provost Veit, Dean McDonald, honored guests and students, welcome to the white coat ceremony for the PCOM Physician Assistant Class of 2024. Before we begin, I'd like to invite Dr. Feldstein to the podium to say a few words, followed by Dean McDonald.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. So today is the white coat ceremony for the PA class of 2024. Yeah, okay, that works. You know, from my perspective, and from the college's perspective, what the white coat ceremony really represents, it's a transition from you being a student concentrated on yourself to shifting to the patient. The white coat is about patient care. It's about putting the patient first because you are in a service profession. You're here to take care of patients. And if you put the patient first, everything else takes care of itself. So I just want to wish you the best of luck in your studies, and I'm going to give you the most important piece of advice you're going to hear from anybody today. This is a Tide stain pen, which gets out stains in a white coat very quickly until you can soak it in peroxide and put it through the washer cycle. So on that, again, congratulations to everyone and enjoy the day.
Good morning, everyone. And again, congratulations to the students and family as well. And as Dr. Feldstein said, this is a pivotal time in your career. You're going to now form the role of a caregiver, of a healthcare provider, and it's a role that obviously is a very serious one, and I'm sure that you are ready and willing to take on that role. It may take a while to acclimate to it. I remember the first time I had my white coat on when I was in the hospital, and I forgot I had it on, of course, and I was a student, and one of the patients were saying, "Excuse me, doctor? Doctor?" You know, I'm standing around, they were talking to me. I didn't know that. So there will be a time, that's kind of a transition time where you can start to get used to that white coat and as your role of that person wearing that white coat. I've been honored to teach the PA class at PCOM since 1999, and I'll be honest with you, it's one of the high points of my educational career, and I look forward to continue to educate PAs. And I look forward to seeing you progress through your didactic and your clinical years, and then ultimately to graduation. Again, congratulations, and thank you for coming.
Social perceptions of healers in our society are represented by symbols of the profession. Few symbols of medicine are more recognizable than the clinician's white coat. Historically, the white coat has represented such things as scientific method of diagnosis and treatment, and the adoption of aseptic techniques associated with cleanliness. It's interesting to see where the use of the white coat in medicine came from. And in total truth, we don't actually know. But some of those who have studied the history and written about it seem to think it was at least in part a marketing ploy. It seems that doctors of the late 19th and early 20th century noticed that lab scientists were held in very high regard by the general public. Those scientists were getting most of the credit for fighting disease and reducing the suffering that went along with those diseases. One powerful symbol of the lab scientists were their long lab coats, which at the time were tan. Organized medicine saw an opportunity to improve that symbol by changing the color to white and combining lab science with cleanliness, not to mention the pure intentions of healing the sick. And so it came to be, long white coats became the doctor's trademark. In our current era of the 21st century, most people would agree that the white coat emphasizes the humanistic values of patient before self, to which all PAs adhere. You who are newest to our profession will wear your white coats for the first time today. Donning the white coat serves to remind us that we have a special responsibility to the patients who look to us to help them become well and to keep them from becoming ill through preventative care. We must keep the purest of intentions in always doing what is best for the patients, even when it's not easy or convenient to do so. Now I'd like to ask Dr. Sean Ganane, Assistant Program Director and Site Director for the Philadelphia campus, to come to the podium.
This morning, it's my pleasure to introduce PA Jency Boyce. A recent alumna of the PCOM PA class of 2022, Jency is a 2017 alumna from George Washington University, earning a bachelor's degree in psychology before joining our program. During her time at PCOM, Jency was consistently recognized by classmates, preceptors, faculty, and patients as modeling the qualities we all hope to demonstrate in our professional lives. Last month, Jency was recognized at commencement with the Department of PA Studies Faculty Recognition Award for Outstanding Clinical Achievement. And most recently, Jency learned she had successfully passed the PA National Certifying Exam, allowing me to ask you to join in welcoming Jency Boyce, PAC.
Good morning and congratulations. As Dr. Ganane said, I am Jency Boyce, a graduate of the class of 2022. I am so excited and honored to be here to congratulate you and to offer some advice before you move into this next phase of becoming a physician assistant. Being here, I'm reminded of my own white coat ceremony, which took place in the thick of COVID. I remember picking my coat up in the parking garage and going to watch the ceremony on my phone on a restaurant sidewalk in 30-degree weather because that was what we braved to celebrate things during COVID. While it certainly looked different, I still remember the absolute excitement at receiving this white coat. As you know, it is so much more than just a coat. This was the coat that would carry my instruments through practical exams, the one that would be weighed down with my reference books on clinical rotations, and the one I would sweat in as preceptors grilled me with questions. This coat means you are well on your way to becoming a medical practitioner. You've survived anatomy and physiology, which set your base knowledge, and now you are finally at the starting line of truly diving into medicine. This is what your years of hard-earned hours, applications, and studying have been building to. So enjoy this moment for what it is and celebrate it. The road ahead is undoubtedly arduous, but it will be completely worth it. A few weeks ago, on graduation day, my dad asked me, what would you go back and tell yourself 2 years ago? The truth is, there is so much advice that I could give, but I will try to keep it simple. Or, as we often say in PA school, I'll give you the high-yield information. Didactic year comes first, and I'm sure you've all been told the metaphor that it feels like trying to drink water from a fire hose. And this can be true. One of the best ways to make sure that this won't overwhelm you is to not fall behind. This year will move quickly, and everything builds on itself. Make sure that you truly understand what you've been taught that day or that week, because it will come back. On the days where you didn't understand or were a little less attentive in class, take a break if that's what you need, but always remember to get back to it and learn it, and not just the night before the exam. It will be hard to stay on top of everything, so prioritizing things will be essential. If it's too much, pause, make a list, and take it one thing at a time. My second piece of advice is that to keep up with the fire hose, you have to continue to take care of yourself. This year will be about resilience and perseverance. Remember that while at times you will feel like you are sprinting, you are in a marathon, and maintaining your ability to focus and learn is crucial. So on the days where you are exhausted or you feel like you've stopped absorbing information, take the break. Take a walk, do something fun with friends, watch TV, call your parents. Whatever reset you need to be able to keep pushing. My friends and I often could be found walking laps around the apartment complex parking lot, or all 10 of us participating in taking our one friend's dog out. Anything to get outside for a few minutes and away from a screen. And always remember that part of self-care is sleeping. We've all heard it, but seriously, sometimes an hour sleeping is better than an extra hour of studying the night before an exam. The last thing I'll say about didactic is to lean on your support system. That can be family, friends, faculty, but especially your classmates. No one entirely understands what you're going through like they do. So find the people who motivate you and inspire you, or at the very least have a similar studying style. The night before many exams, I could be found on the floor of my friend's apartment, the two of us side by side with our own whiteboards, silently drawing our flowcharts and diagrams. The solidarity helps. After this year of intensive studying and learning, you will finally be going out to clinicals. This is where things get truly exciting. After a year of reading textbooks and PowerPoints, you get to practice your new skills, hands-on, and, just as importantly, you learn the human side of medicine. Don't get me wrong, the medical and surgical side of things will be super interesting and informative, but now it's time to also apply all the knowledge you've gained to help people and to start building relationships. To start, you will have your preceptor, as well as their staff. Be kind and respectful to everyone and learn everything you can from each of them, even if they are not your direct preceptor. Administrators, nurses, MAs, PTs, phlebotomists, everyone has something they are the expert on, and more often than not are happy to teach you. I spent one morning of my OBGYN rotation with the ultrasound tech doing anatomy scans, and she showed me each and every step, giving me new insight on the importance of these scans that I may one day order. Secondly, you will learn the art of building rapport with patients. You all have some level of experience with patients due to your hours required for school, but I truly never realized how important building trust is when you are the one getting a patient's history and physical. The biggest advice I can give for this is to remember that your patient is a person first. View them as a person asking for help, not a list of symptoms. Patients will come in with complaints that you are not entirely sure how they add up. The best thing you can do is to make them feel heard and assure them that you will help them to the best of your ability. Building this relationship will provide a better experience for both you and the patient. My third piece of advice for clinicals is to be okay with being uncomfortable, within reason, of course. As the student, you will often not know exactly what you should do or where you should be and when to be there. You will have a lot of questions. You may misunderstand things, but this is why we do clinicals. Be okay with being outside of your comfort zone, asking those questions, asking to do things, even if the answer is no. Being uncomfortable often means you're learning something. The final advice I'll give you, and this applies to both didactic and clinicals, is the number one thing I told my dad in answer to his question. And that is to trust yourself and trust this process. At this point, you have not gotten here on false confidence. You are here because of the many hours you have spent studying, working, applying, interviewing. You are here and everything is going to work out. On the hardest days, remind yourself of why you wanted to do this, and remind yourself that you are amazing for getting here, and you will continue to do great things, even if it doesn't feel like it every day. Our wonderful faculty will teach you everything that you need to know in due time, and you are capable of learning and accomplishing everything that you need to. Just trust it. This time, in 2 years, you will look back, not entirely sure how you did it, but you will be done. and you will have a long white coat and a few more letters at the end of your name. So remember, take breaks, don't fall behind, build relationships, get out of your comfort zone, and most importantly, trust yourself. Thank you, congratulations, and good luck.
Thank you, Jency, for those timely words. Before we go any further, I wish to thank Dr. Kimberly Rupert, who unfortunately could not be with us today, for her generosity in supplying our students with their first white coats. A few years ago, Dr. Rupert made the donation in her late mother's memory which has permanently endowed the purchase of white coats for this and future PCOM PA classes. Dr. Rupert's mother was Mrs. Sarah Summers Rupert of the PCOM nursing school class of 1933. Mrs. Sarah Summers Rupert was a strong supporter of the PA program, and it is she for whom the PCOM PA Student Society is named. Sadly, Mrs. Rupert passed away in August of 2008, but we honor her memory here today. Now we'll help each of you into your white coats. We'll ask you to line up one row at a time at the bottom of the staircase and then come forward as I call your name. As a courtesy so that everyone may hear the names being called, please hold all applause until the students have all received their white coat. You can rise. Kayla Adeser. Rita Ali. Ryan Anzalone. Soma Assad. Michelle Bello. Riley Booth. Julie Bowers. Anwin Brock. Ashley Dahl. Caitlin Dean. Christine Doe. Stephanie Donahue. Elena Dubiel. Rachel Dunn. Natalie Everett. Olivia Flink. Melissa Gillis. Marnie Granzo. Alexis Greger. Alexis Holliday. Rachel Kligger. Rachel Krut. Ashley Coombe. Hannah Labouliere. Alicia Larson. Jennifer Lang. Abria Kilari Little. Alexandra Luxardo. Corinne McBride. Olivia Mancini. Daniel Mantell. Jacob May. Robert McCafferty. Danielle McGonigal. Leslie Mora Ojeda. Tangnika Nugent. Gareth Pease. Frida Pereira Palencia. Nadia Romanchuk. Lauren Rose. Caitlin Rudman. Venezia Sanchez. Ashley Sneesavage. Devin Stevens. Diana Talon. Zachary Thorogood. Gabrielle Toro. Tina Tu. Timothy Von Seth. Wendy Wax. Kayla Webb. Shannon Wenter. Kelsey Wolf. Brian Yang. Before we administer the oath, I'd like to share some advice regarding your new white coats. Adapted from Suzanne Ogilvie Oakes, PAC, who spoke to her first-year PA students more than 20 years ago. So your jacket has several large pockets that you will fill with instruments and items that add about 5 pounds to the average PA student. Here are some of the items that will fill your pocket. A reflex hammer. This is key for the neurologic exam. Also handy for tapping ice off of your windshield on a blustery day. You can also use it as a gentle wrap over your temporal bone to help you retrieve that specific piece of information during a test. Measuring tape. You will measure skin lesions, lacerations, pregnant abdomens, and swollen legs. You can also use this to check the size of a new microwave on sale at Home Depot when yours dies. A pen light. It's used to check pupils and throats or to look under your car for loose change that you need for the vending machine. Tongue blades. There never seems to be enough of these in the room when you need to see the back of a defiant child's throat. Keep a few of them in your pocket so you don't have to run out of the room. You'll be happy when you've managed to pack yourself some leftovers for dinner and there's not a utensil in sight with which to eat them. Tongue blades aren't great, but they will get the food in your mouth. Your cell phone will act as your peripheral brain. You will download apps like Epocrates and UpToDate to help you remember the vast amount of material that exists. They also house special photos and important dates like anniversaries and birthdays of loved ones. Do not forget those dates. Additionally, you will likely have a blank notebook to log your patients for the day, an obstetrical wheel to determine a patient's due date, a handheld Snell and eye chart, surgical tape and scissors, hand sanitizer, extra masks, and breath mints when the only things you've had to eat all day are Doritos. The next items are perhaps the heaviest but most important to keep in your pocket. Courage. The pandemic has changed the medical landscape, perhaps forever. Be the leaders that we need. Enhance every opportunity to challenge yourself. Endurance. Your hours will be long, your mental and physical capacities stretched, but the reward will be great. Humility and kindness. You will spend the bulk of your careers caring for patients one at a time. In our current healthcare environment with pressure to see many patients in a day, it's often easy to forget that this sole patient is not a disconnected entity. That patient is someone's son or daughter, brother or sister, spouse or parent. And for that reason, it becomes important to remember that what happens to your one patient affects many other people, sometimes deeply and for a long time. Please try and remember that while illness and death may become familiar to you, it is not to those who know and love your patient. Please stand while we recite the oath for physician assistant students. Please read with me for the first time this oath. I pledge to perform the following duties with honesty, integrity, and dedication, remembering always that my primary responsibility is to the health, safety, welfare, and dignity of all human beings. I recognize and promise the value of diversity, and I will treat all my care. I will uphold the tenets of patient autonomy, beneficence, non-malfeasance, justice, and the principle of informed consent. I will hold in confidence the information shared with me in the course of practicing medicine, except where I am authorized to impart such knowledge. I will be diligent in understanding both my personal capabilities and my limitations, striving to improve my practice of medicine. I will actively seek to expand my intellectual knowledge and skills in keeping abreast of advances in the art and science of medicine. I will work with other members of the healthcare team to ensure compassionate and effective care of patients. I will uphold and enhance community values and use the knowledge and experience as acquired as a PA to contribute to an improved community. I will respect my professional relationship with the physician and act always with the guidance and supervision provided by that physician, except where to do so would cause harm. I recognize my duty to perpetuate knowledge within the profession. These duties are pledged with sincerity and on my honor. You can be seated. Before we adjourn, I'd like to ask you, the physician assistant students of the class of 2024, to do a couple of things. First, look to the front of this room. There you see the faculty who will guide and direct you in your studies of both the science and art of medicine. They are experienced, they are knowledgeable, and they, more than anyone else at this institution, know what you need to become great PAs. Turn now so you can see your family and friends. Students, you may want to thank them again for all they will do for you over the next 2 years. And finally, to you, the family and friends of our new students, I want to leave you with a friendly warning. You are about to become involved in medical education as teachers of sort. I'll bet you never imagined that just because you knew someone that was in a PA program, that you would be a medical educator, but it's true, and here's why. You have ear canals and nasal passages that the students will want to stick their brand new stethoscopes into. You have retinas that the students will examine with their ophthalmoscopes. You might remember the spots that you used to see when you had your picture taken with those old cameras that had the flash cubes on them. Well, a halogen bulb of an ophthalmoscope at full intensity is much worse than that. You also have chests and abdomens that they will want to percuss and palpate, poke and prod. You have lung sounds and heart sounds that they will listen to over and over again with their new stethoscopes. In short, you are about to endure the longest and most thorough physical exam of your entire lives. So please be patient. The students will thank you, and eventually their patients will benefit from the teaching that you provide. This concludes our ceremony. Thank you for coming.